My dear friends, I'm super excited to be here with you today. And I want to celebrate you. As you know, the habit dictates. Gonna pat yourself on your shoulder, gonna give yourself a virtual high five, perhaps hug your loved ones, celebrate yourself, cheer yourself on. You're here. You're doing the work of growth oriented people, growth oriented high performers, leaders who take ownership of their life, who take ownership of their own career path. And this is what are we here today to talk about. What do you think? What do you think today's topic is going to be? It's really simple because as we go along, we realize life is actually being better when we do it with others. And today's topic is about being a human connector and how to connect, and enrich your life and achieve great personal and business results when you do the work. And and today it's just like any other day. It's the day to grow. It's the day to celebrate that you are actually going for it. And really, in a nutshell, life can be more fun when we do the work. And this is where I want to start a little bit on that note. The thing is, we know what to do. I'm bringing you a lot of these insights with the notion that I know you already know what to do, but are you doing it? So again, if we evaluate ourselves from 1 to 10, 1 being I'm actually not that good at it, and 10 being I'm really excellent. Where are you at? Are you at 10? Then I want to challenge you. How can you be 11? Can you be 12? How can you be better or 10 plus? And if you're 1, you have a long way to go, but there is hope for you. There is hope for all of us if we do the work. So these are the 5 things I want to give you today: how to actually be a better human connector and how to connect with others a bit better. And I want to give you a little notion or a little story that helped me along the way. When I moved to the West, I really knew that I have to connect with others. I knew that in order to achieve something, I need to sell myself. I learned perhaps the notion of selling because of my dad. My dad was a regional director, and I learned and I've seen and I witnessed how he was selling and how he was using relationships to build actually success for his company and for ourselves. For many people, I remember even one time when I was interviewing at this company, and the CEO actually asked me, do you think everybody is selling or everybody sells? I said, yeah, probably. He said, yeah, we sell constantly to our spouse, to our management, everywhere. And I want to encourage you really to think a little bit about building a relationship from this perspective, not in a sense of what is it in it for me, because that's what everybody is asking. If you're asking them for commitment, why you want to connect with them, and they will probably ask, hey, what do you want in return? Where do you see that we match? Why should we actually, two of us, come together and have a chat? So that's obviously the prerequisite of everything else. If you're building relationships for career, a lot of people who are very successful, they have very big network. Maybe not even huge, but they have really tight network of people they can rely on, people that they can call back on, people they help proactively, and these people actually can help them back. And it doesn't mean one hand washes the other, but often that's how people, and I met people like that who are watching and looking at building relationship from this perspective. So if you do that, I can tell you there is a great book from Adam Grant, Give and Take, and please pick it up right now and read it. Because if that's your strategy, I can tell you this will backfire really quickly. I used to do this in an earlier career where I thought, I need to help here because I didn't know better. But I often was already having this giver, as you call it, a giver trait. So I always try to help people regardless whether I get something in return. And we live in this economy where people expect great value. You get a lot of stuff for free. And if you come there and you think, ooh, I will, what is it in it for me? And you don't really think about how to contribute to others and what to bring to the table first, because that's why you impress people often, bringing something to the table, bringing a lot of value. And they're like, well, why is this person doing it? And sometimes, like, because that's who you are. This is what you want to be as a human being. You want to be this human giver that you don't know. They're always doesn't need to be a reason for you to justify why you do that, because that's who you are. You want to add value, you want to help people. But let's set the stage. Now you have the five traits, and I want you to think about, again, from 1 to 10, where you at. 1 being not good at, 10 being amazing. First one, assertiveness. If you want to sell something, you need to be a bit more bold. You need to be a bit more leaning forward, a bit more proactive. And assertiveness doesn't say you have to, run people over and be the loudest person in a room. No, you have to know when to insert yourself. And this is what I mean in assertiveness. As a human connector, if you want to build and really enrich your life, you need to know when to ask. You need to know when to ask for help, when to ask for advice, when to ask for mentorship. There are different things, right? Different reasons why you do that, and different circumstances, different stages of your life. And being assertive is being, kind of confident in a way, if you will, as well. And even if you have to sometimes fake it until you make it and say, you're asking for the commitment from the management, and you're like, ooh, I see that we're doing on this area not really well. And you develop a strategy and you actually are bold enough to pitch it to the management. This is assertive. But many people a little bit I guess mistaken that for confidence, or for extreme confidence and being a bit cocky, where you like ego me, and what I say it's true and what you say it's not considered. So I don't want you to do that. I want you to be a team player and focus on that. The second thing, what will make you a better and a more appealing human connector, or somebody that people will gravitate towards, because we want to, and this is the whole kind of notion why we want to be a human connector, because we want to be magnetic. We want to let people gravitate towards us. People actually say, hey, I like this guy. I like how he thinks. I like how he positioned himself or herself. And the second thing is really radiating energy. You see from this interaction, I'm coming at you from the position of energy. Not only because I want you to really take this serious, but because this is who I am. I know that if I am about to make an impact, I need to bring across this energy that you physically can feel it. And obviously, I could give you a high five. I could, pat you on the shoulder. I could give you a hug. All these different things actually make you feel like, hey, I'm actually there with him, and I want you to be here next to me. Maybe you're in Asia, perhaps you're in US, perhaps you're in the UK, Germany, Spain, Italy, Poland, Czech Republic, wherever you are. It's beautiful that you can listen to my voice, to my words, right where you are, and you can actually get familiar with what I'm saying. And we can find a common sense despite the different cultures, the different backgrounds, where we come from. And you're like, I get this guy. So that's why, if you want to be a human connector and you want to really amplify the way you make people feel, you will need to sense their room. You will need to sense that, there is different energy needed in a business meeting. There is a different energy needed in a party. There is a different energy needed in, in a tough situation, tough conversation, when you need to kind of relay to somebody else's problems. So you will need to dial it down or dial it up as needed. But I want you in general to have the reservoir of energy. I want you to build that through all the things we talk a lot about, through movement, through cleansing and eating healthy, through having different groups, being a learner, taking care of your thoughts, all these different kind of holistic way of thinking. So you're the best leader out there. And that's where we really kind of can start figuring out what makes sense and what doesn't. 3, build trust. If you want to be a human connector and really enrich your life, achieve a great personal results, but also business results, you need to be building trust. If you go back to the business life, or if we step in your own shoes right where you are, if you are a human being like you are, like we all are, you have your responsibilities, you have your tasks, you have your goals. What will you be judged on based on perhaps your function, your role? But one thing, what you are judged on, and we all are, is integrity. If you say you will do something and you do it with the fire, with the intensity, and with the challenge of a tiger, you will see that things will be a bit different. And things meaning people will consider you reliable. People will consider you as somebody who says, I do something and I do it. So integrous to their word. And this is probably the highest metric you can receive in any job, in any relationship. If you say something and you do it and you really adhere to your word. So I want to build this trust also in our relationship. This is what I'm doing here because I'm giving you all these nuggets, golden nuggets, so that you feel like, hey, I can trust this guy. He's not different than he pretends to be. He's very authentic. He's mumbling, he's rumbling with his strange accent. I can't, really sense whether he's American, whether he's Asian, or wherever he's from. So, you need to find your own way to build trust. It shouldn't be mimicked. It shouldn't be, you can obviously learn from people out there, but what makes me trusting you might be different for you trusting me. It might mean the way I'm dressed. It might convey a sense of trust. It might be the fact that you feel a bit more relaxed because there are flowers, and because that I'm positive, and that I'm gesturing or gesticulating with my arms and with my hands, and I'm making you feel cozy. I'm making you feel like you can trust me. The point number 4, and this is very important one, is really important. It's body language. You know, if I don't smile and I will be like this, you will really quickly be bored, and you will think, what's wrong with that guy? But if you see me, also all the time, with closed arms, you will probably not trust me as if I have open arms, if I, pat you on the shoulder, if I give you a high five. And it's not to trick you and not to trick others into trust and into believing that you have something good to offer. But this is who we are as human beings. If you meet somebody with hostile intentions, you can immediately read it from their body. And we, especially nowadays with what's going on in Europe, what's going on in the world, we are more paying attention to the cybercrime and people trying to build trust and say, you do this, put your card details there, and then they steal your information. We know that people have always second intentions. But that's why I was saying we need to come back to really, and that probably will be the last point I will give you, to who you are. If you come across as integrous, if you come across as the person who really display these values, this honesty, integrity, passion, enthusiasm, high performance, and kind of community feeling, people actually will know that it's not just you who think about a person, but once multiple people get the same feeling, and still you can be a people pleaser and you can still try to win people over. We all do it in one part of our life or another, but in the end, if you are a good human being, which I believe everybody's a good human being, and you want to really add value, people will feel that from the body language, the way you dress, the way you display yourself, whether you're confident, if you're sitting like this, or if you're sitting like this, or if you are really trying to honestly give people the feeling that they are safe with you, because people want to feel safe, people want to feel appreciated, people want to feel that they are part of something bigger. And if you're here, you are part of something bigger. I want to celebrate you again because I know this is hard. This is hard to do. You have to mentally decide, I'm doing something bigger for my life. I'm building a bigger life. I'm the stronger human being. I'm strong, I'm resilient, and I will use grit, any situation that comes my way, to build a better life for myself. And this is the last point I want to give you guys. This is a very important one. If you go out there and you will be studying other human beings, please stay authentic to yourself. Stay true to yourself. And this is the hardest, challenging task out there, because you will have to study others. You will, if you want to be a good leader, you will probably have to look at how Mother Teresa did it, how Martin Luther King did it, how Jeff Bezos did it, or Elon Musk, perhaps other teachers or people you admire did it, and you will need to find your way. But the thing is, a lot of mistakes that are made are by trying to mimic somebody else's behavior. And it's good. It's good. You should integrate it in you, but you should really find your own words, find your own unique path to educate yourself about who you want to be and what traits you want to display. And as I'm a bit mumbling and rumbling on these different things, let's remind ourselves why we do all this work. Because we want to be a human magnetic connector. Human magnetic connector. We want to be magnetic. We want this magnetic personality to enrich our life. Because if we have this energy, if you have this magnetism, remember and think about this. You move to a new neighborhood, and you are this person who actually wants to first get to know everybody, or even just perhaps bring some gifts and say, hey, I moved here, thank you guys, if you need anything, please let me know. It's completely different approach. And if you move to a new neighborhood and you're like, hey, yeah, I don't know who you are, but please don't annoy me. I have, of course not everybody's like that, but there are people who actually prefer to be left alone, and I understand it. I have those periods in my life as well. But re- imagine the first case will be probably the one where people will be gravitated towards and said, hey, that guy's different. We had always these neighbors who are super conservative, never wanted to talk to, and he's like super open and helping others. So people might be suspicious if you move to a new environment where everybody's conservative and you are the only one. It might be a bit challenging for people to trust that. So find, again, talking to the point, you need to find your way to be assertive. So it might be really working well for you if you're in an environment of high energy in a neighborhood where people are all like you. But if you move to an environment where people are more conservative, you might need to dial it back. You might need to change a little bit, find the tone, find the balance, and then dial it up and down, as I said before. That also is the energy, right? You shouldn't change yourself for the people. You should change yourself for the situation, but more change is to adjust to the situation. So energy you always need to bring. Build trust. This is the whole thing and hallmark of relationship. If you want to build it in business or personal life with your spouse, people like to be around people they can trust, people who are authentic and who actually stick it out. That's why I need to be resilient. That's why I need to prefer the path of discomfort and doing the work in the morning when you don't feel like it, shooting those videos when you don't feel like it, focusing on displaying this honesty, this integrity, this praise, this cheering other people on, giving people high fives, patting them on the shoulder, because also this whole notion of body language give people feeling like, hey, I can trust him or trust her, or this is no go and I will not do it. And lastly, guys, be authentic. Be authentic in the way you display yourself. Be authentic in the way you position yourself. Don't put too much pressure on doing everything at once. Perhaps you start with one point and then you focus on another, and then on and on you go. But don't trick yourself into thinking that you have to do everything at once. You can, but you will, more importantly, integrate this as you go along. So one period it will be more important for you to be authentic. Next one, it will be more about building this assertiveness, being more outgoing. Say, "Oof, I'm really struggling with being conservative. I'm fearing the next situation, and it's uncomfortable to for me to go out."